So, for tonight's Late IHP show, we're going to talk about when you're a 5D mystic. The 4D mystics, put them to the side. They're the ones who talk to you about you losing people, energy vampires, dark auras. They're all into the esotericism stories. You can only be Christ consciousness if you do this. 4D have stories for you, okay? 5D mystics, they don't have stories. They have a whole 3-year-old heart, secure attachment, and or they get there. And so our oversoul is the most amazing of those experiences. We don't isolate and we don't lose people. And we not even in a million years think of ourselves as more special than anyone else. In fact, a 5D mystic will know immediately as they begin to have clairs that they are like any other person on the face of this planet because they have healthy self-worth. So they feel whole 3-year-old heart. I'm worthy just like you are. I'm not superior and I'm not inferior to you. So my clairs don't make me more special. And that's why we don't go around pouting when somebody makes fun of us and says, oh, you're a woo-woo, crazy lady. And it's like, yeah, let me add to the pseudoscience, please. Come on over. Okay, so a healthy self-worth person who's an inner adult knows, grown-up land. When I was a teenager, I already knew grown-up land. When I call grown-up land, it means emotional maturity. Okay, so on that note, I really wanted to focus on mysticism with not the 5D term necessarily, and not necessarily enlightenment or functional adult, but with the part of the relationship with our oversoul. So the energetic imprint. When I began with clairs, I immediately began to become aware of the people that are part of my oversoul. I already knew them, all of them. In fact, I've added in the years to my oversoul. And while love is infinite, and as a lovely polyamory person, I love polysecure. If anybody's curious, you should read it. Because as she says, love is infinite. It's time that's limited. So you have to split up that time, right? And 24 hours is all we got. So on that note, luckily for me, I have met the majority of my oversoul, all of my twin flames, all of my soulmates since at least my teens, okay? So I've always felt lucky like that. And now I've added to my lovely oversoul. And so I have a bunch of people, I would say, but obviously they're not all active all the time. Now, in the middle of my clairs getting into their maturation, I was never confused. This is why when Twin Flames and the whole documentary, which is not even a a saga, they just created a teenage saga about it. I got why there's this saga going on, because we have a lot of people who don't have secure attachment, and they don't have a whole 3-year-old heart. They don't have healthy self-worth, so they don't know how to be their own safe haven, secure base. They actually don't know how to handle their 0-1-year-old. I do. So if I have a panic attack, if I'm emotionally in any type of situation, I, Maria, know how to use my left and right mode. And even as I began with Claire Land, I still knew very well how to handle my nervous system because it's in my body. And so that's why you don't lose people unless you're a person who's looking for people to be the way you want them to be. And that's why some people say spirituality is a cult. It's not a cult unless you're talking about the culty cults, traditional cults, and ethical cults, which are not just about spirituality. It's anyone. Flat earthers could be considered a cult for all I care, or for all we know. I don't prefer that word personally, but I get it what they mean, because it's groups that come together. They got a leader. There you go. And again, if you're not an inner adult, well, you're following somebody and you're part of a crowd. So people, when they use the word mysticism, I'm a mystic, I'm this, I'm that, you can tell when they have healthy self-worth, because they're not speaking the words, because they have assumed the label like a teenager does. And now they're just, here's my label, prancing around, okay? So when they're prancing around, you can always tell, because they're always going to make it a point to share where they're excluded or included, or so that's what teenagers do. They reaffirm themselves, and you can tell by the energetic expression that they bring to you. And so let me put that again to the side. When we have our oversoul, a 5D mystic is going to be consistently growing in excitement. And that's why I keep on sharing with my community channeled guidance and 5D mysticism, because the 4D mystics don't actually allow you to enjoy your oversoul, since they talk to you about twin flames as if you have to go through some stages, and they've created a whole, basically relationship coach. That's all that is. But they've created a whole thing over there. We have also those who are now saying it's not a real thing, and so you have a divine counterpart. So they're using words, and teenagers like to be part of a group. So again, those who are mystics in the 4D plane, they adhere to all that lingo. A 5D mystic will immediately know, what are you doing? Why are you labeling my oversoul? What are you doing? Why are you telling me to cut a cord? Excuse me, contracts? What are you doing? So the people who need a beginning, middle, and end are the same people who don't know how to handle their own mental and emotional plane within here and say, that's my oversoul. I'm the mystic. You don't tell me how my relationships work. I tell me how my relationships work. What are you doing? And so again, it's personal, because this is family we're talking about. So mysticism is something that means you are connected, yes, to the sphere of consciousness. However, if you are talking about your oversoul in the terms of stories where you're equating groups, definitely not in the 5D mystic plane. And I see 4D all over that one. So here's what, again, I want to share. It's very beautiful to recognize your oversoul. When I began to have dreams and a lot more, it was not confusing. It was not destabilizing. I was very, very much touched right here. And then when things started to get different in certain types of situations, I did not tune into 4D. In fact, they kept on insulting my oversoul personally, and they keep on insulting the oversoul relationship by telling people that you're going to isolate, you're going to go through torture, you're going to basically think you're all alone. It's drama land. That's what it is. You're going to be all alone. You lose people. How do people not recognize that's egoic? Because you don't have healthy self-worth. Because if you would have healthy self-worth, you would recognize that anyone who's telling you you're dropping people like a hat is a teenager who doesn't have healthy self-worth. How dare you talk about people like they're objects? Does not anybody realize that that's not love? Too busy being special. Okay, so 4D, insulted. As soon as I began hearing them talk about the masculine of twin flame, they began insulting people that I know. Because you don't go around saying some people are woke and others are not. That's actually quite egoic again. What are you talking about mysticism? You obviously don't know mysticism. That's how a 5D mystic is going to feel. And so I completely began to get, more than anything, really like, what are you doing? And leaving it alone, because I don't care that 4D mystics are in teenage land. But I do care about those mystics who are 5D and who understand in a healthy self-worth way, my oversoul is special in my relationship. And so I'm sharing this one because there's magic in unconditional love. And there's magic in being able to pick up on your sphere of consciousness. Neuroscientists look into consciousness and the sphere in the field. So do physicists. So do other sciences groups. But we get to actually experience it. And I'll never forget, there's this one guy who talked about our oversoul as like code. But I want to compare it to perfume, to sense. Because when I pick up on my oversoul, they're like that. They're like a perfume. I'll recognize their laugh. I'll recognize their heart. I'll recognize their personality. I'll recognize their thought. I'll recognize their voice. But it's not all in one. Like they literally, it's like when you walk near a, what is it, those bushes with orange flowers in the summer where you can smell and there's a beautiful fragrance. So yeah, a 5D mystic will never lose people of their oversoul. And we don't close contracts. That's actually silly because we don't have endings. Like the Rumi quote, we love with our heart and soul. We don't know separation. And expanding consciousness is what a 5D mystic is, by the way, because you consistently evolve to become more of the securely attached, loving person that you can be, and to offer that safe haven, secure base to anyone who wants to be a part of your group. And obviously the globe, we hug the whole globe, and infinite and beyond. So tune in for more again. And if you have questions, please let me know. But it is a beautiful journey to be here.